Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As we're about to tell today's video, here to rank all the playmaking badges and tiers in NBA 2K23 for Season 4. Now, if you're new to the channel, or new to the series, the text color down here is going to indicate the Season 3 ranking. So, this just tells you what I had it ranked for last season. Mismatch Expert was F, Special Delivery was E, Ankle Breaker and Post Playmaker were in the D tier, and anything so on and so forth that matches the color was in that tier as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, for to drop a like, sub if you're new to noties, all that good stuff, and like always, try to win to 2,000 likes. Now in yesterday's video, the shooting one, I asked you guys if there was very stagnant movement or very minimal movement, for lack of a different word or anything like that. If there was very little movement in terms of where these badges moved from Season 3 to Season 4, I wanted to know if you guys still wanted to see it, and the answer was a pretty resounding yes. To be honest with you, I didn't hear anybody say no, even though I asked them very blatantly to say no if they really didn't want to see stuff like that, because I really do want to put these out for informational purposes, but I don't want the videos to be intentionally sabotaged where, let's say, just for exciting purposes, I wanted to move Break Starter all the way down to D tier again just because I think it'd be cool to talk about in the video, even though it's clearly not the case. I'm not going to sabotage what I think of the badge if my opinion hasn't changed on it. So a lot of these things in today's video are going to be staying in its very stagnant movement. There are only 4 badges in this whole tier list that are going to be changing, which is a good thing for the sake of gameplay. I mean, it is nice if the fact that like certain badge power hasn't changed too much for the sake of people not having to make new builds or anything like that, or it's good on my part because then I didn't misjudge something and I have a completely different opinion on it 40 days later. So anyway, we're gonna get along with the video, but I hope you guys do enjoy, and like I said, if you do, for to drop a like, sub if you're new to them noties, all that good stuff, and let's try this one to 2,000 likes. But first of all, we have Mismatch Expert staying in the F tier. It's just literally non-functional, doesn't work. You can try this on a 6'1" guard, a 5'7" guard, get a mismatch switched on you off a pick and roll. You can just have a taller player matched up on you as a smaller guard. It doesn't work. It's not functional. I do hope 2K eventually fixes this. I mean, we're 4 seasons into it, almost 140 days into the season, or just the 2K year in general, and it still hasn't been fixed. So I mean, this is just something that we probably won't see fixed this year. Now again, I think it would be good for the sake of the gameplay to kind of reward the small guards for maybe having a bigger player matched up on them, or to kind of punish the 6'9" lockdown defenders for coming out here trying to defend them. But hey, at the end of the day, the game has benefited a lot of things that I do for Pro-Am. I mean, we run 2 6'9" defenders in the pick and roll, one's guarding ball, one's guarding backside, and I mean, really, small guards have a hard time taking advantage of those types of defenders, even though some people would maybe say different, like, oh, 83 speed's too slow to guard a small guard in PNR. I totally disagree as long as your help defense is set up properly. I mean, it's pretty devious, bro. I really do think with the lack of mashing ability as well, that double 6'9" defense in Pro-Am is going hard. I'll be really surprised to not see some people adjust to that, but at the end of the day, they're all playing for draft status and stuff like that too, so they have to play by their valid terms. But anyway, my whole point is Mismatch Expert, sorry for the tangent, Mismatch Expert is just not good. It doesn't work, it's non-functional, it's in the F tier. I only do that for 2 different badges in this game, and it's literally just Guard Up and Mismatch Expert. They are the only 2 badges in this game that I have in the F. Anything else I'm pretty lenient on. I mean, things like Special Delivery, Ankle Breaker, Post Playmaker, they have some use. They have some utilization to them. I would say Post Playmaker is probably the one I underrate a little bit more. It's just that I do value Dimer a whole lot more than it. I will say it's obviously a tier 3 for most people that can get it and reasonably would want to run it, aka bigs. So you have to have enough playmaking badges, and that's why you probably don't see too many bigs come out here with Post Playmaker, because to have this, you have to have super high pass accuracy and even some ball handling and stuff like that too, to even have the playmaking badges accessible as a big man. Because as a big, you can't really go like 86 ball handling or anything like that, like a 6'9" would or anything. So it really makes it pretty impossible to run this badge for most people by all logical measures. But regardless, I still think Dimer is a better badge overall than Post Playmaker. They both just will boost up people's percentage to hit shots. It's just Dimer is in a more, I would say, reasonable way. Post Playmaker is just strictly off O boards and pass outs, and I'm gonna be real with you, they are something that happens, but not at an extremely high rate, and I just feel like you could spend your playmaking badges better. Now on the other hand, we have Ankle Breaker, where it's actually pretty easy to get. You only need 80 ball handle to get it on Hall of Fame, which is pretty ridiculous, and about every ball handler in the game can get this on Hall of Fame. It's just that the badge doesn't really work that good. I mean, it just doesn't activate very often, and it's just the truth. Even on Hall of Fame, it doesn't really do what you want it to do. I mean, you're spending 4 points into it and it hardly activates. I have run this on Hall of Fame, and I do a lot of snatchbacks and stuff like that too, man. A lot of ankle breaking moves, like between the snaps where I just like move to the right and then flick my stick to the left, and that should really activate it as well. The downhill snatchbacks with that hardened moving step back, and again, a lot of those things are something that activates ankle breakers, and I don't see any of them. But hey, at the end of the day, at least it actually activates sometimes, as opposed to mismatch expert literally just not being functional. And what I really want to talk about too, a lot of people are talking about this with guard up and stuff like that, or even corner specialists, that just the activation of the badge does not mean it's working, just so you guys know. I mean, you can see the badge pop up, but that doesn't mean it's actually giving you a boost at anything. It's just activating. But anyway, we have one badge moving up from the E tier to the D tier, and this is one of our 4 that are even moving in the video. Special delivery going from the E to the D. So I think special delivery needs to be on the same page as ankle breaker and post playmaker. It actually has some use and some utilization, to be completely honest with you guys. I mean, it unlocks the ability to throw alley-oops off the backboard, which is not such a crazy thing. It's not really that enhancing as far as gameplay goes. But really, after I have played around with this a little bit, and Zeke runs this at his point guard position every now and then, and it benefits me as a lob catcher, at least a little bit. Again, it probably isn't the greatest badge just in general to run, but it is a tier 1 for most people at the end of the day, so it's not the like biggest waste of your badge points or anything like that. I mean, if you could throw this on bronze just to unlock that ability, if that's something you wanted, it's at least a decent idea. But again, don't really worry about the whole throwing lobs off the backboard aspect of it. If you throw lobs consistently, I would just run this badge in general. People are going to be able to connect on those alley-oops a whole lot better. It puts me as the finisher into contact lobs a whole lot more often, as opposed to, let's say, one where I get thrown into contact, but I can't get the contact dunk, and we all know what that means. I'm not going to connect on it because I'm just going to get bumped and kicked out of the alley-oop. Simple as that. So I don't want you guys to sleep on this badge. If you throw lobs consistently, or you play with someone that wants to catch them consistently, I do think special delivery is kind of worth running. So that's at least my take on it. It's not really a game-changing badge by any means. It doesn't belong in the C tier or B tier for sure, but D tier is right where it belongs now, in my opinion, and I think putting it EU is sliding it a little bit in comparison to these 2 badges that are still very mediocre and not that good. Alright, so next up we have our C tier badges, one staying in C, one moving up to B. We got killer combos and vice grip. So for vice grip, this is obviously something a lot of bigs are going to just kind of vouch for, because the truth is that a lot of you guys don't have a lot of badges to run. I've seen it firsthand when I make big builds for Tonic and we kind of just lab it up together, or any big build that I've used as well. You generally don't have a lot of badges to use. So it's about as simple as that. You just throw vice grip on. And my truth to this, every season, and I've said this every single season, I think vice grip has probably been the one that stays in this like B to D range more than anything, is that generally in the rec center or pro-am or anything like that, if you go for a reach-in off of someone grabbing a rebound, you are generally getting a transition take foul. People have made it a habit to not go for those reach-ins anymore. It's just the truth, and I don't want to like keep on like ramming this same exact point over every single time that we talk about vice grip, but that's my true take on it. I know a lot of people really vouch for this at a higher level than just C tier. I understand, but the truth is that a lot of you guys are pigeonholed into running this badge, and you want to believe that it's useful and that it works, but the truth is, not that many people reach on you in the rec center or anything like that. Not often do you even lose the ball when you grab the rebounds anymore. It's not a problem like it used to be in previous years. So, in my opinion, vice grip, it's still a good badge. It's still worth running as a big and stuff like that too, but you'll never catch anybody besides the center running this. It's just the truth. And just the whole reason is because, like I said, you just dump your extra playmaking badges into this because you have nowhere else to put them. And I do want to make this very clear. When I put vice grip in the C tier, I want it to be known that it is the worst C tier badge that I have on this list, because the ones that we're going to be moving into the C tier are significantly better than it, but it's not as good as the B tier badges. So just keep that in mind. I just want you guys to understand that the difference in this is going to be like vice grip should probably be like right here. We'll actually just do it for that matter too. It's really like a C to D tier badge where it's better than all of these 3 right here, but it's nowhere near the other C tiers, and the C tiers aren't on the level of the B tiers. So that's just the kind of hierarchy of this tier list that we have. But anyway, that's my take on it. I really do think for the sake of ones, maybe it's reasonable. Like maybe people, you'll see sometimes where you grab a rebound on ones, and then if it's right below the basket, you'll see someone just swat for that steal right away because they're right in your face. But other than that, I don't know, man. 2s, it's actually probably reasonable. I think on 2s, it's like a C or B tier for sure. For 3s and Pro-Am and Rec Center and anything like that, I don't really care about this badge at all, to be honest. Anyway, moving along. Killer combos. We have this moving up from C tier to B tier. This is actually a badge I've been sleeping on for a little bit of the year, to be honest with you. So the first guard that I ever saw this in action with was Eyeball Greens. Now he just got drafted this year, top 3 I believe, I forget what exact pick, but he's been an absolute beast at the PG position this year. And the build that he runs, it's like 97, 98 ball handle, something like that, with Hall of Fame killer combos, Hall of Fame clamp breaker, unpluckable, handles for days, quick for, well, actually gold handles for days. It's only like 97, 98 ball handle. But either way, I see that in action. He's able to stun people at a ridiculous rate, and I see other guards start running this stuff as well. And I'm noticing that ankle braces doesn't truly counter it at a 100% rate or anything like that. So I'm starting to realize that killer combos meta, if it even is a meta that you want to call. I only see like a handful of guards even use this anymore, but the handful of guards that do use it, it really is irritating. I mean, you get left in the dust on some stuns, and it's consistently too. It's pretty annoying. So I really do think killer combos is something people should put more respect on. It is another tier 3 though, and a lot of guards can't afford it based off the way they've currently constructed their build. We also don't have any extra like core badge loadouts that give 2 playmaking but still give you a shooting. So you'll maybe even see this get thrown into action a little bit more if they ever do implement, let's say maybe like a 1 shooting, 2 playmaking, 1 defense sort of thing, or maybe like just a 2 shooting, 2 playmaking, something of that nature. But currently, you're not going to see too many people utilize this because, again, it's just not really fitting in their badge count. All right, and also, I know a lot of you guys are going to be hating on the way I do these tier lists because you're so over it, I'm sure, of all these halfway tiers between like Vice Grip being C- and D+, and then now I have Dimer in the C+, B- tier. But I just want this to be known, like for sure, and really, really openly, that Dimer and Needle Threader are way better than Vice Grip, but I don't think they're as good as like Floor General, Killer Combos, and Hyperdrive. Now, my reason for this, and I'm really like kind of demotivated by this, because I made my new build with 86 pass accuracy just for the sake of like having these 2 badges at a ridiculous rate between like Hall of Fame Dimer and then the Gold Needle Threader as well. And they're both kind of a letdown in the aspect, to be honest with you. But regardless of how much of a letdown they really are, it's still significantly better than Vice Grip. Simple as that. It's just, again, I don't think they're on the same level of Hyperdrive, Floor General, or Killer Combos. Now, for Dimer, I do want to make a mention of this. Now, I was going to say something along the lines of, well, these days, you don't really hit whites that much anymore, and what Dimer used to do was maybe help you hit whites and open up your green window. But the truth is, it still opens up your green window when you pass to people as well, and obviously, if that is the case, some people are going to be greening shots that they would have originally just hit, like, shot a white on in the first place. Now, it has to be just barely outside that green window on the early or late end, obviously, so it turns your really good slightlies and your really good, like, you know, slightly early, slightly lates into greens most likely, but it's hard to test that. It's hard to truly know the power of Dimer, because when you throw someone a ball, they could have just greened it, and they could maybe just be having a good shooting performance that night. And obviously, if they miss, sometimes it's pretty egregious. And it's on the very extreme end of slightly late or slightly early when they do miss like that. So it's hard to really judge a lot of times. Obviously, like I said, Dimer, it doesn't help a lot of whites go in this year. It's just the truth. So it's hard to judge and hard to test a little bit, but I would definitely still say Dimer should be considered around B to C tier. Simple as that. I mean, it's still a decent badge to run. It's still a tier 1 for most builds. I will say, I think the taller you go, as in like above 6'9", it becomes a tier 3 eventually, I think, for taller bigs, because Dimer and Post Playmaker are both in the tier 3 for like 6'11 plus and stuff like that. So I don't know what 6'10's deal is, but I do know for a 6'9 and below, Dimer is a tier 1. And then for Needle Threader, this is once again a decent badge. Now, here's where the conversation really becomes like the whole point guard talk, right? So I would say Hyperdrive, Dimer, Needle Threader. Those are some point guard badges right there. Not to mention Killer Combos is too. Floor General is a very non-point guard badge. So when we talk about Floor General, this is a role player badge. This is someone that should absolutely not be super involved in the offense, but still has a decent enough pass accuracy to run this at a decent level. For our situation, it's Tonic. He runs it on Hall of Fame because he has the 86 pass hack, and then we're able to eat off the fact that, you know, like our point guards, both the PG and the shooting guard, are going to be able to get their 3-pointer boosted by 4, ball handle boosted by 4. Everything as far as the corner, like one corner shooter and then me are all getting like their ball handle 3-pointer. Not that my 3-pointer matters on that lineup, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's nice when a role player has this at a good level, and I would also do it myself, but I still handle the ball a good bit, so I need my playmaking badges. Not to mention, I run things like Dimer and Needle Threader as well. So, as far as Needle Threader, the point of me talking about this is, it's a good point guard badge. It's a good in the ball, like the ball in your hand type badge. I mean, you're never gonna know stuff like this because it bails you out of passes that you maybe originally would have turned over. And you'll never know it because then when you throw a bad pass and it's stolen anyway, you're like, well, what was the point of Needle Threader? Well, it's more the point is, if you throw a bad pass and it doesn't get intercepted, that's probably one that you got bailed out by Needle Threader. And the badge activates a good bit. I mean, I have this like cord on gold and I run it on gold, and like that's comparing to a lot of badges that I don't have cord gold either. So it definitely activates. It's definitely useful. It's just, it's hard to really justify absolutely throwing a ton of pass accuracy into your build just to be able to get things like Needle Threader, Dimer, and then to run it at a super high level if it's a tier 2 for you for like 5 badge points or something like that. gets expensive, man. It's tough to justify it sometimes, but it's still a decent badge. It belongs in the C to B tier. Then we got hyperdrive, the one dribbling related badge of these like 4 B tiers that are like in this area between dimer, flow general, needle threader, and hyperdrive. So for hyperdrive, this is obviously just for downhill dribbling. I think it's really good for like full court press break. If you are someone that is going to be like breaking the press, I really would recommend this badge. If you're a really rim run heavy point guard that is going to be attacking downhill extremely often, I would definitely recommend hyperdrive. For me as a slasher, I think hyperdrive is really an A tier, to be honest with you. It's definitely something that is a staple in my badge loadout, and I'll never not have this at a high level. But again, for maybe side-to-side point guards, lateral movers, stuff like that, where you're working pick and roll, you need that side-to-side movement a little bit more. Hyperdrive's not quite as necessary. I think it's more just, like I said, a main primary point guard for the reason of breaking press. Now, you can still get away with not running this on a point guard. I truly do believe that 100%. If it's at the expense of maybe going into something different, like maybe you want dimer, needle threader, or killer combos over it instead of hyperdrive, I wouldn't hate you for it. I think that's a pretty justifiable take. It's just you have to understand that it's going to take a hit on your full court press break a little bit. It's going to be harder for you to dribble up the court with 99 overall, 87 speed pure locks, hawking you with 97 prim D as well. It's going to be a little bit tough, is all I'm saying. But that is still a plenty justifiable like loadout. And not to mention too, if you're running a lot of 2s, 3s, I think it's plenty fine to take hyperdrive off. It's really just something that I think is necessary at the highest level for point guards to get past the best lockdowns in the game. As far as rec center, it's probably still recommended, but like I said, for 2s, 3s, stuff like that, it doesn't matter at all. For 1s, I don't think it matters that much either, unless you're a really, like I said, for those styles, 1s, 2s, and 3s, really rim run heavy, like let's say maybe for instance I am. So anyway, there's our 4.5 badges moving in today's video. We had killer combos going from C to B, dimer and needle threader both going down from B to like B minus, C plus, and then we had vice grip going down from like C to C minus, and then as you can see, special delivery moving up from the E to the D tier. So we'll call it 5 technically, I guess. But anyway, at the top of the tier, we obviously still have bailout and break starter staying in the A tier, and then we have clamp breaker, handles for days, quick first step, and unpluckable staying in the S. Now, let's talk about these S tiers first, because I think it's just so egregious how good they are. Clamp breaker at Hall of Fame level. I have seen this now utilized with AK. I've seen it on my own builds with gold, and it's ridiculous, bro. It's probably one of the most broken badges in the game, for being real. It definitely is a no-skill badge. I mean, you just run right into people, run past them. It just gives you animations that shrug people off. Not to mention, it just makes you more slippery. People can't get bumps on you quite as good either. If you're a point guard and you don't have this on at least gold, I think you're tripping. I honestly think you're tripping if you don't have it on Hall of Fame, but to be fair, it's just a build thing at that point. Like, I recommended to a lot of people 95 ball handle for the Hall of Fame unpluckable, but then 96 was the Hall of Fame clamp breaker, and come to find out, clamp breakers are extremely necessary. So it's just a tough situation. I totally understand. It just is what it is. So anyway, clamp breaker, devious, probably the best playmaking badge in the game. Quick first step, hard to beat though. I mean, this is something that is necessary. It's more of a, I always have this conversation when it comes to the playmaking badges. Things like quick first step and unpluckable are glue badges. You need them. Same with handles for days. I'd say these 3 are the glue badges where if you don't have them, you're going to look a little bit worse. Whereas clamp breaker is the it's the want badge. It's not the need badge between quick first step, unpluckable, and handles for days. It's the want badge because you can do some devious things with it, but you don't need clamp breaker. Whereas you need unpluckable to play as a point guard. You need quick first step to play as a point guard. You likely need handles for days to play as a point guard. Me personally, I think my dribble style is very basic. I don't probably need handles for days as a slasher heavy build, but for the people who combo up a lot, and especially for those PGs that utilize those screens and pick and roll in comp pro-am, it is necessary 100%. So that's kind of my take on those 4 badges right there. I don't think it really requires too much more explanation. I mean, we all know what they do. Unpluckable resist the pluck steals, quick first steps make you move quickly. I mean, it's about as simple as that. Handles for days makes you drain less stamina, and again, about as easy as that. So to come back to our A tier badges now, between bailout and break starter, they're obviously 2 passing badges, and I would say I definitely recommend to get them at the highest level you can if you are in a position that needs them. So for instance, as a point guard, I think going 78 pass accuracy is very convenient because I think 75 is the really good threshold to hit with that LeBron pass style and stuff. And obviously getting that 78 gets you to silver bailout, and also a badge point if you're like 6'9". I believe maybe even 6'1s get it as well at that threshold as well. Maybe 79 actually. But anyway, my whole point here is that bailout is an extremely overpowered badge, and you can do a lot of crazy things with this. Let me give you a good example with this. So I've seen Fab, or even other point guards as well, who just intentionally look like they're going to shoot a ball and then bail out past that same side corner to bait the help defense to stepping to them. And while I do understand that it's a pretty skill-based thing and you can still like predetermine that, and that's a good prediction on their end, it's still so BS. It's so annoying. If you ever even put a hand up, don't touch your right stick if you ever play against a guy like this, because it is going to be a problem as far as like stepping out that corner, showing a little bit of help. If you ever do that, just ghost it. Plan to just like go straight left stick right into his face and then like return back to your corner, because if you put that hand up, it is going to bait you into a hands up animation. You get completely pulled in, and now the point guard just paused but sucked you out the corner, and now he's like dishing that thing over to the corner because he got you completely out of that corner. So now you just give up a wide open three. Simple as that. And again, for bailout, it goes even further than the intentional things. This is one that can just accidentally be good. I mean, you can just pass out of a shot, and now the defense looked like they were crashing down for the rebound. This is even worse when openness was in the game too, because my God, as a center, sometimes I would be in the corner, I see a shot go up, I'm like, all right, down for the rebound, quick, because the offense, like the center is going to be hawking that O board, getting down to the paint in that dead zone super quick. So you got to beat him there, and then boom, the bailout pass just absolutely manipulates you into thinking it's a shot, and then you're like leaving up a wide open corner three. Simple as that. So again, I think bailout is a really necessary badge. You don't see anybody ever able to put this on Hall of Fame, if we're being realistic, but the gold level goes crazy. Bronze is necessary, and silver is a nice little accessory piece that can still be nice to have if you're going to be around that pass accuracy threshold anyway. But then for break starter, this is pretty attainable in Hall of Fame. I would say a lot of bigs are kind of in the area where they only go for either gold or Hall of Fame. Gold is 76 pass accuracy, Hall of Fame is 86. So for the popper builds out there, you generally only see them go with 76 pass accuracy. They don't have enough points to like kind of spread out on the build between rebounding, shot blocking for like a good anchor. They can't really get like elite mashing either, and then one of the sacrifices they take at a big end is going to be that gold break starter instead of Hall of Fame. And let me tell you, I have a build with 86 pass accuracy. When I grab a defensive rebound and throw an outlet pass, it is actually significantly worse than my teammate who also has 86 pass ac and tonic, but he has Hall of Fame break starter on his build. So I would put a lot of respect on this badge. I know I didn't do it at a really early rate in this season, but it is what it is. We're here, and it's a recurring badge in the A tier now, and it's definitely something that will accelerate your passes on those fast breaks, and really just in general throw better pass accuracy too. So the accuracy and the velocity is a huge thing. It's just more throw power, more accuracy. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try to win 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put pass or put ball in the comments. Source supports me all the way through. But what I do want to just ask one more time is if you guys see a tier list that looks like this in future seasons, let me know if you just don't want to see it anyway. Like if you see only like 3 or 4 real significant movements in this tier list for season 4 to season 5, let me know if you just don't want to see it, or let me know if you still want to see them regardless for good informational update from season to season. And you just want, maybe you just want to know that things are still the same for certain badges, like that my opinions haven't changed at all on things like bailout, break starter, unpluckable, hit us for days, clamp breaker, quick first step, all that stuff. You know, you want to know at least for sure that I don't like think unpluckable is useless now because of the patch of the pluck steals or anything like that, because it's not the case. This is still a very necessary badge, 100%. Or for instance, things like killer combos, maybe you want to know about things like that in my difference in opinion, even if it's the one minimal thing in this video. But anyway, that's all video. Feel free to leave your feedback in the comments. I'm open to all criticism and critique, or just advice as far as what to do with these tier list videos moving forward. I don't know either. There could be some updates going into like season 4 to 5 as well. So it is what it is. But anyway, that's all. Hope y'all enjoyed. And that, take it easy, man. Peace.